United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thanks, everybody. First item on our agenda tonight is public comment. Didn't know if we had any public comment today. Not seeing any, not hearing any. Okay. Moving on to the next item. Nuisance update. Chief Morrison. I don't have to pick which one you start first because
Just me tonight.
Doug's not here.
We've been working on, I know the cars in the front yards have been an issue over the last couple of weeks since the snowfall. We've been working on getting those out, and then of course it snowed late last week, so everybody moved their cars back into the front yards. But we did send notices out again today and over the weekend to try to get those moved back onto the street. We also have 9 municipal citations that are waiting to be served. Most of those are junk vehicles. I think more than half of them are, 2/3 are junk vehicles that we have citations for. So those will be coming out soon. And then we will have another big push for nuisances coming up to the cleanup, which is in the latter part of April. So, but we have a meeting to kind of discuss that in the next couple weeks to get the dates nailed down. And then I was going to let you know we are still working with the Coonley building to try to get that cleaned up. Unfortunately, they've stopped communicating with us and stopped responding to messages, but I stopped there to talk to some gentlemen today, and apparently it has been listed for sale. So that was confirmed with the realtors, so I'm thinking they're trying to get out of it at this point. But that's all I've got, unless there's questions.
Any nuisance questions for Chief Morrison?
Mayor?
Yep.
So when the communication stopped, the tickets and infractions began? Or
Yeah,
how's that
and
work?
we've already set down a meeting with the city attorney to draft a letter, and we've talked to them about the rental permit and what that process would look like if we can pull it until they comply. So yeah, that's in the process.
Okay, thank you.
How's the employee search?
That's in progress, but I can update you a little more on that on
Yeah.
Thursday.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Chief Morrison? Not? Thank you, sir. Moving on to the item, next item is the considerations to fill the Ward 3 council vacancy. As we all know, Mr. Blanford tendered his resignation, so we do have an open seat for Ward 3. So tonight we kind of want to discuss how do we want to fill that? Do we want to appoint? Do we want a special election? And then we got a couple options for that we need to go to. So first thing first, do appoint or special election? Any?
Mayor, I'd like
Yeah.
to see us just appoint because of cost of elections, and you have to schedule it and work with the auditor's office, and it's just if the person is not happy with the choice that we made, let's say there's 5 people that are interested and one of them's not happy about it, they can file for a special
Sure.
election.
Sure.
I remember somebody at this table did that once, and they won. Anyway, so that's an option. If they want to do that later, that's fine. And for me, the quicker the better, but that would be option 2 for me, but it's up to the rest of everybody else.
I would agree.
I say a point.
Barry's on a point. Jim?
Option 2.
A point. So everybody's kind of agreeing we'll go ahead and appoint, get some, hopefully get some applications in. So that brings us to the little calendars that Ron made up for us. We got 2 options here. Option 1, if we of course we take action on this Thursday night, we can start taking applications on Friday. Option 1 goes through the 4th of April. We're going to have to move the workshop on the 7th because we have Ron's going to be out. So we'd have to move that out. So we'd be taking the applications for like 3 weeks. And then do interviews, and then, of course, name a person. Option 2, we would pare that down a little bit. We again still take action on Thursday, start taking applications on Friday through next week, and then we'd only take applications for 1 week. Then we'd move into on the 4th, on the workshop, we would do any interviews of the candidates, and then appoint on the 27th. So anybody got preferences?
When is this term up?
This would be, he'll,
Okay.
he'll
Well,
serve, and then they'll have to be elected.
I like the short option, but, you know, if people don't get a chance to apply, they can still, run this fall.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, no matter who's appointed, they will have to be on if they choose to be
Yeah.
on the ballot for this November.
Yeah.
And they would serve until the supervisors certify the election. And then if it's someone else that wins the election, then they would start, so.
Yep.
Yeah, Mayor, I would just go with option 2.
Okay. Anybody else? Any
I prefer
Thoughts?
option 2, and I know
Option
you have
two.
several people ready to put their application.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it closes the window down a little bit, but it also gets it done, getting taken care of, and get somebody in here as quickly as possible too, so. So if everybody's good for option 2,
When would the last day of taking application, that would be Friday the 21st?
yep,
Yeah,
Okay.
yep.
they'll start on Friday this week, and then 1 week, the 21st.
And we'll put that information right on the application,
Okay.
the date, the timeline of
Okay, thank you.
events. Yep.
So, we have concessions to appoint for Ward 3, and do the 1 week applications, and then do our inventory interviews on the 4th, or 24th, so we'll put that on Thursday and
Yeah,
take
sounds good.
action, and we'll be moving forward.
Sounds good.
Thank
Is
you.
where we like to be. All right, thank you. Next, we have Josh Engel. I don't know who you are, but now I do. He's going to talk to us about the tennis court crack ceiling. So, Josh?
That's right. Thank you for the opportunity to address you guys tonight. So yeah, again, my name's Josh Engler. I work for a company called Bargain Incorporated. A little bit about us is we're a pavement maintenance company out of Southwest Minnesota. Been doing this a long time, 45 years now. And so, yeah, we've seen a lot of different things. I've been in communication with Doug Tarr. I reached out to him earlier this year, and he made mention of this tennis court you guys are having some issues with. And just asked me to take a look at it and give him some recommendations. So kind of what I've seen there, and obviously you had that worked on a couple years ago, 2 years ago, from a company out of Denison. There's a lot of obviously movement going on to open those cracks up that much, and the amount of crack I seen there in that short of time. So I think there's definitely some base issues going on, and I mentioned that to Doug. We have a contractor we work with out of the Twin Cities. I had him come out and look at it himself too, who does, that's all they do. Well, they do a lot of tennis courts. We work with them a lot on that. And he said, yeah, they're not even, it's not even something they would even be comfortable putting numbers in on to do crack repair on that project, just with what we know about when it was worked on last. And the condition of it. So So, yeah, that's, it's concerned. The options, I guess, we have at this point is you could reach back out to that company in Denison who did the work originally. They're pretty familiar with what the conditions was before they worked on it, and now obviously with it 2 years later, they might have some good insight or be able to work with you on what they could do for you as far as fixing those cracks, but yeah, like I said, there's a concern with the base, you know. There's moisture getting underneath. Another option would be an overlay, you know, that's another option. The concern with that for me would be you're gonna have reflection cracking coming through, so the problems we're facing right now would most likely show up again. You know, I can't say for sure, but like I said, with what I'm seeing on site there, with the amount of cracking and that kind of time and the significance of it, it's an option. The other option would be reconstruction. You know, obviously that's going to be a lot more expensive, and it's sad because it looks really nice. Obviously the painting was just done recently, so the paint job looks great. I know the cracks are obviously the concern, letting the water in. But that's an option to consider, is get down to that base and get that packed better. Another option I've been looking into, I've been in contact with the company out of Utah, out of Salt Lake City. They're called Snap Sports. So it's a tile that actually will go over the surface of your tennis courts. They do other things too, basketball courts and sport courts and stuff like that. So what they do is they snap together and just float over the surface, giving you a smooth surface. And I asked them about, you know, the crack situation is okay. He said, yeah, as long as they're not, you know, horizontally much different, you know, if they're pretty flush, that would be just fine. Another option would be is we crack seal those cracks first before this product goes down, seal things up, and then put this over the top. They would be someone I would recommend just passing that information off to you guys, and you reach out to them direct and just deal with them in that way. And if you want us to come and seal the cracks up with our rubber that we put over roads and parking lots and, you know, stuff like that, that'd be an option I'd be happy to look into. But yeah, no, it's a tough situation with the base the way it is, you know. So yeah, you guys have any questions for me?
Yeah, I think the base is the big deal, because anything you put in there, it's still gonna keep moving.
Right.
And,
Yep.
And I don't remember when that was put in, but it was a long time ago, I know. And
Isn't part of Highway 3, the old Highway 3, underneath the two courts to the west?
probably.
Because I mean,
yeah.
I'm tennis coach, so I'm
okay.
very familiar with that. And in fact, when to me, it was pretty much an overlay that was done before.
Okay.
And I was concerned that the cracks would radiate, and a lot of they came through. And so, yeah, just to do it again, I think you're going to still have the same problem. And if we were to reconstruct, I don't know if I would even recommend anywhere on that same site. If
Yeah,
you're
'cause
gonna
you have that
build something
creek.
else, I would
Yeah.
find somewhere else. I don't even know if I would try to stabilize that. I don't think you're going
Right.
to. Because the
Right.
first two courts closest to the road have been there a lot longer, and then they added, and you could tell they added the other two
Yeah.
later. Sort
Yeah.
of dating myself, but yeah, it's, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not
I mean,
surprised by anything you said, and I'm familiar with the snap tile. I know what you're talking about. I myself have not ever played on one.
Sure.
But, I mean, if we're gonna do anything, maybe consider that, but
yeah, and that might be something where you just do one court or whatever, kind of just see how it works for you. But again, it's something you guys could look into, certainly. But yeah, in that location right near that creek there, obviously there's a lot of moisture that funnels that way. But yeah, if there's an option to move somewhere else, that's maybe, yeah, a little higher ground and something you can, if you're gonna do a reconstruct, probably not a bad option to look into.
then at that point, I'd like to see pickleball courts go in too.
Yeah,
I knew that was coming.
Doesn't do much for the high school tennis team, but
right. And I brought, brochures of Bargain, who we are, what we do. Like I said, I'm in contact with Doug to maybe potentially do some work out on the streets this year too, if you guys have any street projects coming up. But if anyone's interested in getting a brochure, just raise your hand, I'll bring it to you, yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
I appreciate you showing up and giving us bad news.
Oh,
Yeah, no, thanks a lot.
Some guys
Like I
wouldn't
said,
even show up.
Surprised by anything.
Thank you.
or wouldn't tell the truth.
Yeah, this sounds like we should have a skateboard park on top of that.
Let him hit the cracks.
Might be a good place for that. All right, any other questions for Josh?
Thank you.
If not, we appreciate you coming in, and we'll definitely be looking at some options, so
Safe travels.
you bet.
Thank you.
Take care. All right, moving on. Proposal for the fire truck order. You want to start kicking
Yeah.
that off, or?
Yeah, so I was contacted by the fire department that have been working with towing on specs for the next fire truck. And so you have in front of you the estimated cost for that. And we'll let Rory talk a little bit more about details on that. As far as financing, we finance purchase of fire trucks with portion of the local option sales tax. We still have $60,000 to pay off on the last truck that we bought on the loan, and I anticipate we'll pay that off in fiscal year '26. The thought was this is estimated to be a 2-year until it's delivered, and my estimate is that if we paid for it upon delivery, we'd maybe estimate to have a couple $100,000 on hand to use as a down payment, and then finance with a local bank loan for the remaining $289,000. But there's a couple other things that the company has talked to the fire department about, and I'll let Rory talk about that.
Yeah, one of the biggest things that, why we're pushing it so hard is in 2026, they're gonna mandate a different type of DEF for diesels, which anybody that's been around diesels know that when the first DEF came out, they had so much problems with it. And they finally got it figured out to where it's working now. But when they go and change, somebody's got to be a guinea pig. So that's the biggest thing why we're pushing. Not only that, but the truck is 25 years old. And hopefully, with that, means it is in real good shape, and it's newer than anything that we've gotten rid of so far, that we can recoup maybe a little bit of the income off of that, or resale on it. We're got somebody that's looking into it to see what it's worth, and then we can go from there.
Mayor.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just in Plymouth, Iowa today, and you'll never believe they're looking for a fire truck.
Yeah,
So that'd be the first call I'd make to the city manager of Plymouth.
I was in Rowan today. I went over to Mark Bruns, and they are looking for a truck too.
So you're gonna,
So he was really interested.
good, good.
So it's new enough and in good shape enough that we should be able to get a little bit of money out of it.
Good. Okay, I'm glad you have some options.
Is this a pumper truck?
Yes, this is a pumper tanker. It's actually, we spec'd it out to be just exactly what we got now. It's a 1,500 gallon tank, and it pumps too. So it gives us 1,500 gallons for a rural fire, and it's the rear dump, just like the new one we just got. So that'll give us 4,500 gallons to dump on a rural fire. Quick.
Just to throw this out, Hampton has hardly ever gotten any rural fire grants. Is there a way you can have someone apply for those? Or do you want to run that through the city hall?
Ron could probably answer more of that than I can.
Yeah, the federal grant, the Assistance to Firefighters grant, yeah, so we, past 2 years, we've been working with NIACOG. They've helped with the grant, and Joel McWilliams. And I worked and have submitted grants, but so far, in the last two applications have been for not vehicles, been for, I don't know what type of equipment, I don't know, but the thing is that our inventory of vehicles now would not bode well on an application for a vehicle grant at the federal level, because we have pretty good inventory now of trucks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So the issue is with the new upcoming changes in the motor, the company is saying you need to commit to the purchase now, this week, in order to get, the 2005 motor, which doesn't have the new emissions in it.
What they are, excuse me.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
But, Toyne only gets so many trucks a year. I think it's 65 or 70 trucks, so the sooner we can get it in there, the sooner we're able to get it, the one that we want.
And, by trying to get that truck prior to the new DEF modifications, we would have to pay up front when the chassis arrives in 7 or 8 months. Is that right?
8 months. Yeah.
So that means we'd have to come up with,
Possibly 8 months.
yeah, we'd have to come up with, was it 125,000?
125, yeah.
In 8 months,
Yeah,
as opposed to the scenario where we wait 2 years, then we'll have a couple 100,000 built up. So if we committed now to try and get that desired motor, we're gonna be looking at coming up with 125,000 in 8 months, which we won't have on hand. So we'd have to get a loan sooner and start paying interest, but they would have, so it's kind of it's a situation that they don't have a lot of time to decide on. I was just hoping that we would be able to save up and have cash on hand to use as a down payment instead of entering into a loan, 2 years prior, a year and a half prior to even getting the truck. So any thoughts on that?
I would say order it.
Yeah, I don't see our guys just seem to really take care of the stuff they got. I don't see a lot of, you ever walk in there and see a bunch of beat up stuff.
right.
It's always shined up and everybody's right there willing to work on it. And, if you're getting 25 years out of a machine like that, that's doing damn good. I mean, you're not jacking around with it.
Yeah, it's not being abused.
And I think that, I don't know how, if it would put you in a bind to sell the other truck first, then wait, or,
Unfortunately, yes, you don't ever want to be without,
right,
in this scenario, we need 2 pumpers.
okay,
So in case one should happen to go down, then we got the other one
right.
to rely on. Unfortunately, otherwise, yeah, we
Yeah.
could probably sell that truck tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, we can take a down payment from them.
There you go.
At least
There you go.
Let us borrow it.
this agreement gives us time to work on things. And
Yeah, and
we're buying from a Iowa company also. I like that.
Well, one of the reasons why we have been pretty loyal to Tone is that they're close, compared to everybody else, where everybody else is out of state. And they're only, 2 hours and 15 minutes away. So if we have to take it down there to work on it, then, so be it. But the good thing about going with a Freightliner too, if it's something to do with the chassis or anything, Mason City. As to where the first truck, the Spartan truck that we got with the super cab on it and everything, the nearest place we can go to work on that is in Des Moines.
Yeah, I don't like the guinea pig scenario
Oh, no,
too. not
nobody does.
On a new things coming out, if we're comfortable with what's there and
Yeah.
what we
And this will
can.
be the same motor that we got in the other 2 trucks.
Yeah.
Same exact thing, so.
So the two issues for me, from my perspective, are that we didn't budget to pay for this chassis in 8 months. That's in the fiscal year '26 budget, which are gonna have public hearings on soon. It's not in the budget. And, secondly, incurring a loan that I didn't budget for either. So, I mean, I'm all in favor of getting a truck as soon as can, but, I mean, those are a couple obstacles that we can get around. I would amend the budget, and then when we go through the council proceedings of a loan and dealing with the bank, we just have to tell them we can't make a payment until we can, have enough funds to pay. So we'd probably be paying interest until we have funds built up. So it can't be overcome. I'm just explaining that
Right.
those are the two considerations.
Any other comments, discussions?
I think tonight,
I think
the council, needs to give me the go-ahead to either say, yeah, go ahead, and we'll commit to the, committing now for the chassis, and then knowing we're gonna incur a bill for $125,000 in 7 or 8 months that we didn't budget for. We're gonna have to amend and get a loan sooner than what we anticipated, so.
So, any thoughts on that?
I'd say get it.
Yeah, I would. I don't think you're gonna, I think if we can lock in that price, that's the key right there.
Yeah.
Because I don't see the price of the fire truck coming down right now.
I just say that's the only bad thing too. I mean, if we waited another year, 2 years or whatever, it's gonna be just that much more.
Well, the price, what they quoted us, that's, doesn't matter what engine, whether it's the 25 or the 26, they've quoted us a price. And so that's not changing. I mean,
I wouldn't think so.
yeah,
I guess I never have asked that.
yeah. Well, that's typically how it's been in the past. The price, that price they're quoting us is what we pay on the day of delivery.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Newer style motor, that's probably gonna be higher than this
Yeah, I don't know if that would, fall into that $10,000 contingency. Didn't they have that on the last truck or something like that?
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Wasn't it, in case something comes up, higher cost or whatever, wasn't there like a $10,000?
I don't recall.
Oh. I don't know.
So
exactly.
this price includes a contingency fund, in the amount of $10,000, which will be returned to the customer if unused.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I mean, that there might be something that, if the motor does cost more, that falls into that contingency.
okay.
I think we're good over here on the, did you, you have a stand on this?
Do I have to stand?
No, you don't stand up.
Yeah, I agree.
You're good.
Sorry.
Barry, Jim?
I say proceed.
Yeah, 25 years on trucks,
Yeah.
Yeah.
long time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully we get into a rotation that we can get rid of them a little sooner so we can recoup some of the sale off of it.
Yeah. Where are we at on the life of our other fleet, all the rest of their
Well,
fleet?
this will update, I think the oldest truck we got is a 2009, which is the equipment truck, which lasts a lot longer than,
Right.
we kind of keep it around longer than anything, so.
Okay. So it sounds like the consensus is to move forward with this and
Yeah,
get it going.
we'll communicate tomorrow and
Okay.
let them know.
All righty,
Okay?
thank you.
Thanks for
You
coming,
bet,
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, moving on. We got a update to the recommendation for the 500 block of First Street Southeast. This is down at the south end of town where we had kind of talked about vacating that road, but we've kind of changed our minds. So I'll let Ron kind of.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Okay, so if you recall in the past, staff recommended that we consider vacating this portion of First Street Southeast, which is the 500 block. Pretty much a dead end. This is the DeFreeze property. Vince Gunderson owns these three. This is Hanson and Cook Trucking, and this is Rooney. Thinking that if the P&Z considers vacating this and it comes back to the council with that recommendation, then some sort of long-term lease agreement would have to be in place to protect this property and all the properties' access, so they all retain full access. But there's some concern about getting an easement drafted that everyone would agree to and that would be enforceable given the personalities that we have down there. And so we feel like we wanted to come back to the council and change our recommendation from staff's perspective, that we don't think it should go to P&Z to consider vacating. We think that that we should just kind of go back to the drawing board and figure out what type of traffic enforcement or street enforcement we can do to keep things under control down here and have good access to everybody and keep everybody playing by the rules. Now that could be determining, putting in some sort of traffic indications, whether it's street painting, curb and gutter, signage, no parking on one side or the other for a certain amount of the distance. It's unknown, but tonight we just wanted to relay that we're changing our staff recommendation. We don't think it should go to the P&Z for vacating it. We think we should bring it back to a council workshop and have you consider some different options, which staff will come up with a few, and you're welcome to let us know if you think of a few that might be helpful down there. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm, makes a lot of sense.
Okay. Okay, and I think that will make DeVries happy. I know they had some legitimate concerns, and so I think they'll be pleased.
Yeah, I think we need to do that, because if you look at this, I don't know when this picture was, but if you look at the four vehicles on that east side of that road, they're all on the road.
Yeah.
So we gotta
Yeah.
do something to,
Yeah, that's part of the problem.
so we gotta get it maintained somehow so that everybody can
Yeah.
play nice. So,
Okay, so I guess my suggestion is we put this on a council workshop and come up with some real ideas on how we want to proceed with the street. Okay?
Thank you.
All right.
put your
Thank
heads
you.
together, see what we can come up with, so. All right, next item, update of how fluoride impacts water treatment plant project. Mr. Dunt.
Thank you. So at the last workshop where we talked about fluoridation of the drinking water, it kind of ended where we were talking about, well, when should we bring it up again at a council workshop? 6 months, 3 months? I think the consensus was kind of 6 months or in that area. But also it was to have me look into the water treatment plant project that's currently underway and talk to our engineer to see if a decision one way or another will have any impact cost-wise on that project that's underway right now. In visiting with the engineer, they indicated that there's no cost savings. So, for instance, if we were to tell them next week, hey, we're gonna stop putting fluoride in the drinking water, there would be no cost savings on adjusting that project. Because it's really not, it just doesn't have an impact cost-wise. So, there's no impact. So, that's kind of the mission you sent me on, and that's the answer I got. There's no cost related to that project, one way or another. So I guess now we, if you want to wait 6 months, we'll put it on an agenda in 6 months. That's up to the council.
Yeah, so
The only cost savings would be the fluoride himself.
That's right. So the only, at this point, it's non-construction, non-project related. It's simply the fluoridation process. Doug indicated that a rough estimate would be that it costs us roughly $10,000 a year to fluoridate the water. If we changed the ordinance and decided we're no longer going to fluoridate our water, we'd probably spend $10,000 or so less per year by not fluoridating the water.
Is there a Iowa EPA?
Well, the DNR is the enforcement arm for Iowa for the EPA, the federal EPA.
Have we contacted them on any future decisions of what they're gonna do?
No, all I know is that Doug, they talk about it, they touch on it when they have meetings, like when they have continuing ed meetings with the DNR. Basically, the DNR just updates everyone on what the national EPA is saying, and they continue to lower the amount of fluoride that they recommend to be put in the water, and which I think right now is 0.7 parts per million. But the DNR doesn't recommend one way or another. The Department of Public Health has a recommendation, and that's a state office, and they recommend that the communities fluoridate their water.
So it's not a requirement. We don't have to fluoridate.
No, it is not a requirement.
Yeah.
The EPA does not require it. The state DNR does not require it. The Iowa Department of Public Health recommends it.
Okay. Any thoughts?
I say we just address it in the future then.
I would like
Sure.
to, I kind of hate letting it go for 6 months because it's going to be out of sight, out of mind. I would like to at least review it every 3 months, see what the government is doing, see what our National Institute of Health recommends, because it is changing. They are doing more and more studies. They're dropping the levels lower and lower and lower. Could be 6 months from now, they're saying 0.7 is too high. So I would like to keep it in our sights. I would like to keep eyes on it and just talk about it every 3 months, see where we are.
That seems logical to me. I mean, 6 months is a long ways, and even 3 months gives you an idea your time to get out and talk to some people, see what the people think. They're the one that are ultimately going to make the decision. I was looking in the graph that Jerry handed out to us. This is 4 million people live in a community with a fluoride ban, didn't use fluoride. 2010, we were under 250,000. 2023, we're over a million, or over 4 million people in a community that doesn't use fluoride. So, it seems it's going like this pretty quick. So, something to think about.
I do feel like people are paying more attention to it, and there's going to be a lot more in the news about it. Just paying attention to who filters their water and who buys filtered water. A lot of people in Hampton don't drink our water. So I'm thinking, what are we fluoridating it for? That's just really kind of going down the tubes. I wish there was some way we could figure out how many people do not drink the water, but.
Yeah, it's you can get fluoride you can buy it in water if you choose to use it. But yeah, it's definitely going to be a topic of conversation for a while. So what do you think? Take a look at it 3 months
Yeah, that's
and then
fine.
go from there.
I think by 3 months that there'll be an executive order banning it, but that's just
be.
me.
Could be. Okay. we'll do
Okay,
that.
all right.
3 months, we'll come back and brush our teeth again.
And I want you to say that word.
I gotta find it. Fluoro,
Chlorosilicylic acid.
fluoro.
Hard to say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I can spell it before I can say it. So, all right, well, that brings us to the end of our agenda for tonight. Thank you, everybody, and we are adjourned.
That's a good idea, Jerry.
Thank you.